Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to do another episode over the Mineland Wildlife Area in Southeast Kansas. If you guys are just tuning into my videos, be sure to check out the playlist for the Mineland Wildlife Area. I'm breaking down each individual pit and where the best spot is in each pit. Or in this scenario here, not exactly the best spot, but just breaking it down and showing you what it consists of. So my last video, I covered section 20, or pit 23, which is a U-shaped section just right there off of Sportsman's Pit Road. It is back to the west. Then I forget which road it is. I know it's south of, there's a game warden station right there just to the south of it. There's a road that goes all the way through that section. You'll see it on there. It's pit 23. But what I want to talk about is the fingers in section 23. But before I get that started, if you guys are not a member and not subscribed to the channel, if you guys would, please subscribe to the channel. And if you guys have any questions or any comments on the material, comment on the videos. And if you guys have not liked the video, please like the video. That helps it to get it out there and suggest it to others and let more people see the content that I am putting out. So, okay, let's break this down here. What I'm talking about is section number 23, and I'm talking about the fingers there. You'll see it here all in the video. Break it down what each individual section is, and actually get into some details, not too intense, of where the best spots are, because it's been a while since I've been in them, but I used to fish them a lot when I was a kid, but I can't remember where exactly all the best spots are, all the brushes exactly, without going out there and filming it for you guys. So hopefully I can get in there. Maybe this spring is a good time to get in there and actually do some videos. Before I jump into it, I will mention last year when the kayak series was here, there was a YouTube video over a guy fishing in the Mineland Wildlife Area, and he is in one of these areas. It looks like section 1. I know he's in one of them, but I'm pretty sure it's section 1. You'll see here from what I've seen from that video is it looks like he is putting in at section 1, and some of the areas look like section 1, which if you're in a kayak, you can jump from each section pretty simply. So, okay. I'm going to break this down into 5 sections. You'll see right here, there's going to be section 1 is green, section number 2 is yellow, section number 3 is purple, section number 4 is blue, and section number 5 is red, and it actually has a boat ramp. Section 5 has a boat ramp. Now, this one, you're not going to want to put like a 20-footer in there, but I mean, you could put in there with maybe, say, a 16-foot boat. You can get around in there pretty easy. You're not going to be able to fish a lot of the backwaters, but you can get around and fish some of the main stuff. But all this stuff here is going to be good in a kayak, a scamp, or a john boat. I grew up fishing them in a scamp and a john boat because that's where kayaks really took off. Starting to feel kind of old now when I do say that, because we didn't have the kayak stuff back then. That would have been awesome if we did, because we would sit here and pack a scamp for, a mile, just 2 of us, and we were sitting here, 14-year-old kids. We were little bitty kids, me and my cousin. We weren't very big, packing this big old heavy scamp. It was a pond prowler, I do believe, made by Bass Pro. It was probably the heaviest one made. We trudge it through the woods here and then go back. One of us would grab the trolling motor, one of us would grab the battery and hike that thing for, a mile going down through there. So we learned all this stuff the hard way before the kayaks, but now kayaks have made it so much more simpler. So, okay, let's jump into the first section here. The first section right here, this will be the north section, the north part of the first section. And you'll see right there around the green. And then you see all the little fingers in there. There's lots of grass in these areas. The best time to fish these is early spring through early summer before the grass starts setting in. Because once the grass starts setting in, it starts getting pretty nasty in there and it's hard to get around with your trolling motor. But if you're a kayak now, you got your paddle, it won't get in your trolling motor too much, but there's still a lot of grass. But you could go in there and punch a lot of mats and punch through that grass. But if you got a trolling motor like we used to on a john boat or a scamp, it's really difficult to navigate through there in the summertime because all that grass. Same way with the fall. And usually the fall, you don't get much rain, so there ain't much water in there to get around in these fingers. So the best spring is the best time when the water is up, when we got the most rain, to navigate around in these fingers. and they bite better in there before it gets hot, unless now you can get around with your punching mats and all that stuff with heavier lures. And so the first section here is the north side. And then the second picture here, that is the south section of it. And as you can see, there's a lot of fingers down in there. And you might be surprised, I actually broke this down for you guys, actually right here. What is circled in that green area is actually 10.6 acres of water in there. I broke that all down figuring Google Earth. I've done this for years, kept track of all my fish I've caught, broke them down by acres, break them down by miles, break them down by yards. I do all kinds of weird things. I just love the pits. I always have. Just something I've done. I've kept track of every fish I've caught over the past 20 years out there. I have a whole record, whole Excel file of it all. So there's 10.6 acres. There's 3.58 miles of shoreline. Now, these are just estimates from Google Earth, but it'll get you pretty close to what is there. Yeah, believe it or not, right in there is 3.58 miles of shoreline. Don't look like that much on a map, but it is. So there's a lot of fishing to be done in there. There's a lot of fish in there, but the first section, I myself just averaged 3.5 fish per trip in there. But I mean, that's per trip going in the spring, going in the summer, going in the winter, going in the fall, all months long. But the springtime, I mean, you'll go in there and you can catch up to 20 fish out of there. I have before. But it just depends on what day you go in there, what time of year. Like I said, if I went there every time in early spring, I could average 20 fish out of there. But this is just a breakdown of all the times I've been in these pits. Every 28 is 1 over 18 inches. And then this is once I started keeping records. So, I mean, before that, it's probably a little higher than that because I have caught a 6-pounder out of there in high school. And I know a couple others now before I started keeping track of every fish I caught. I got a cousin that's caught a couple 4s out of there and some buddies that's caught a couple 4s out of there. So there is really good fish in there, 4, 5, 6-pounders. It's just getting in there at the right time. Like I said, early spring is the best time to get in there. And it's great. Like I said, the kayak tournament, I know there's Southeast Kansas Kayak Association, I believe, is going in there. They got a tournament, not in there, but at the pits in April. And then the Kansas Kayak Association, or Kansas Kayak Anglers, my bad, is going out in September. I'm going to try to jump in that one and fish that one in the fall. I wish I could get into the spring one in a kayak to get out there and do some fishing with those boys. Section number 2 now. Section number 2 is going to be the yellow. The yellow there, you'll see it all circled there. Yes, okay. Yep, it's just all one area. I couldn't remember if I put it in 2 pictures or not. The yellow is the second area. Nope, there's 2 pictures. Let me get it all pulled up here. Yeah, I got my notes here. So there's 2 areas there, the north section and south section. There might only be 1. Sorry if I got off on that. I can't remember in my notes here. I didn't put it 2. So I'm guessing it's 1. If it's 2, oh well. In high school, my cousin caught, it was a 7 and an 8, I do believe, out of this little section right here. So if you hit it in the right time, there is good fish in there. Section 2 doesn't look like there's much in there, which there isn't as many acres. There's 3.54 acres. There's 1.46 miles of shoreline, and I average 4.33 average fish out of there. So actually, I average more out of it than the first one, and every 26 out of there is over 18 inches. So I just haven't caught that many over. I've caught more in the first one than the second one, the bigger ones in there anyway. But I've heard of some bigger ones coming out of the second one. Now, section 3 right there will be in the purple. I personally have never been into section 3. I was told I never went there because I was told it wasn't no good, but I don't know. I've never been in there. So I circled that for you guys to see that. You guys could go in there and give it a shot. I might be wrong on that. That's just what I'd heard. It looks good on the map. Looking on a Google Earth, I was looking at it, breaking this down. I was like, why haven't I ever been in there? So you could go in there and give that a shot. Now, section 4 is the blue. And then the first section is the first north section right there. And then the second is the south section. So that's just the bigger. I just zoomed in so you guys could see kind of what it is like in there. And you can get on Google Earth and zoom in there so you guys can look at it yourself. I'm just trying to break this down to help you guys out. So you guys can decide where you want to go when you go to all these pits and decide, what do I want to go out and do? Do I want to take a little John boat out? Do I want to take the big bass boat out? what, my little kayak out, what do I want to do, you know, and help you guys out for these tournaments coming up and show you, so you can't just look on a map and be like, oh my gosh, you know, and see these little fingers and be like, oh, what do they go dry when it gets, you know, shallow and there ain't no fish in them? No, there's fish in them. That's why I'm breaking these down. This is one of the little secrets, guys. This is a place, like I said, a guy, he finished in the top 3, I do believe, or 4. I know he got in the top 5 for sure that fished that kayak tournament fishing these fingers in here. I know he was in the first set of fingers. So this purple one area, the purple third area here, or the fourth area, the blue, sorry, got sidetracked there. I've caught a couple over 18 inches out of it. I really like it, but the average fish in there is lower than the other ones. There is 6.96 acres in this section, 2.52 miles of shoreline. I only average 1.5 fish every time I've been in there, but every 6th fish is over 18 inches. So it's got a lot higher rate per big fish. You just don't catch as many out of this third section. And then the last section actually has a boat ramp. And as I was saying, you can get smaller boats in this last one. It's got a boat ramp. It's a concrete ramp. It used to be anyway. I've been sure they've redone it, but I'm pretty sure they probably didn't change it any. It used to have a concrete ramp in there. You can get smaller boats in there, get them around. And the red section to the north, that'll be the north section of it up there zoomed in. The R is the ramp. And then the south section, and then the R there over to your left here is the ramp right there. So section 5 actually has 15.93 acres. So it's actually pretty good sized. And it's 5.75 miles of shoreline. I average 5.5, or whoever's with me. So 5.5 average fish per trip in there. The only problem is they lack the size in there. It's got the best average fish in there, but only every 33 is over 18 inches. So there's not too many big ones in there, but there's a lot of solid fish. And I mean, I say over 18 inches, there's still a lot of 16, 17 inch fish, good quality fish in all of these fingers, except the one I don't know about for sure, like I said, was the purple section 3 right in there. So this is a good area if you guys want to go fishing and catch fish, but try to hit it in the springtime is when it's best. Because in the summertime, when that grass grows in really thick, and it's just a pain to fish it. Unless you like flipping mats. I've never tried flipping the mats. I need to really get in there. Or if I ever plan on, you know, touring full time on a tour, I'm going to have to get out of Florida to learn how to punch those mats. So that'll help me a lot doing that and getting used to that. So speaking of that, I need to get out and do that. Maybe do a little video punch of those mats with you guys. That'd be cool. Get my GoPro out. But these in here, I have done good with the Big Hammer Ringer Worm. You guys will see that in all my videos. I'm sponsored by Big Hammer, and I just don't talk about the Big Hammer Ringer Worm because I'm sponsored by Big Hammer. I talk about the Big Hammer Ringer Worm because of the fish it catches, guys. I used to be a 7-inch power worm guy for years and years, and I was actually with Big Hammer for many years for their swim baits. I love their swim baits. And I didn't even know. I mean, the ringer worm, I found out about it from my wife years ago. It was they sent some stuff to give away. Big Hammer did the ringer worms to give away at pit tournaments, and my wife ended up winning one of those on a giveaway that she fished a tournament with us out of another boat with another woman. And they ended up winning this, and she picked it out one time as I was fishing a power worm, and she was like, I'm going to throw this. And she grabbed it and threw it, and she started beating the crap out of me with it. And I was like, man. And I really didn't think nothing about it. You know, it was a smaller worm. I didn't really like throwing a smaller worm right then. Then a couple of years ago, I was out with my son, and I was fishing a private pit, and I was throwing the 7-inch power worm, and he was just, I mean, he was 7 then, and he was just slaying them. Like 3 to my 1 with that power worm, and I was like, I'm tying one of these things on, you know. So I grabbed another pole and put it on there, and then I started slaying them. They wanted the ringer worm more than that power worm. And I used to be a 7-inch power worm guy until that ringer worm came along. So now I still throw them both. I like the combination between both of them. Depending on what the fish want, I'm usually starting off with the ringer worm now. Magic Bug is the color to throw in the pits. Magic Bug is my go-to in the pits, and Watermelon Red is also a good one. Red Pumpkin is another good color. I don't throw it as much. Green pumpkin, everybody loves green pumpkin. I don't do as well on it, but green pumpkin is good. But like I said, the magic bug is my go-to, and watermelon red is my second in the ringer worm. Now, in a power worm in the pits right there in this area is blue fleck. I love blue fleck in every one of these sections. Blue fleck is an awesome color in cleaner water, and especially these sections. You guys seen that from number 23. That's a secret color in pit 23, and they love it in these finger section of 23 too. Maybe we need to call this like blue fleck section because they love the blue fleck in there. Now, they bite a jig in there good too, a finesse jig. You can't really throw a heavy jig because of the grass, even in the springtime, unless you're getting like a 2 ounce or a 1 ounce jig, you know, punch it into the mats. But I'll throw a lighter one in the springtime, and I will throw a little punk. It's got the Arky style head on it that comes through that grass bed, or a 3/16 ounce. I like the blue crab color in there. Just something about the bluish color in there. They like that bluish color. Blue crab, if you'll see the picture of it there, it popped up. That's what started off the video. Same way with the ringer worm. And then chatterbaits work in there. If you're throwing a chatterbait, you can throw shad imitations. There ain't much shad in there, but you can throw the shad imitations. They will work. Anything you want to do chatterbait wise should work in there. Another thing to throw in there, guys. A lot of people do not do this, but throw the 3-inch big hammer or a 3.5-inch big hammer. If you're throwing the 3-inch big hammer, throw, it's called bait fish is the color. And it looks just like the little minnows. I don't know exactly what they are in these little fingers, but they're the little minnows in there. And if you throw this on a 3/0 offset hook, and you could throw it on a Texas rig with an 1/8 ounce sinker or a 1/4 ounce sinker, depending on how fast you want to reel it, it looks just like one of these minnows swimming through the water on a Texas rig. If you hook it, you got to hook it just right though, because the way it sets up, you got to come through. I wish I had it here, show it to you. Bring it up, and then you got to bring it through the back just right. If you bring it too far to the side, it'll want to run sideways. You got to come right through the back and run it straight at you, and so it comes straight back at you, and it looks like a minnow actually just swimming through the water there. So that works really good in there. A fluke works really good, a weightless fluke. Also a 3.5-inch big hammer works Texas rigged as well. It's a little more traditional looking than the other 3-inch. 3-inch, I think, has the better action on it than the 3.5-inch. 3.5-inch blueback herring works good in there, the color blueback herring. So you could throw jerk baits in there. If you go in there in the wintertime, jerk bait works really well. You just don't want a really too deep of a jerk bait. X-wraps work really good in their Rapala X-wraps because they don't get down too deep, and you can stay above that grass because you don't want to get down in that grass, then it just becomes a mess. Chatterbaits, ripping them out of the grass. Another thing is rattle traps in there. Rattle traps work good in the grass. If you've looked around anywhere, chatterbaits and rattle traps are great in the grass. I'm sure I missed some lures there that I throw in there, but that's just a quick breakdown of that section to help you guys out and all you guys coming out to fish this area. Be sure to stop in at Scammon Express if you guys come out this way. They are a sponsor of Columbus Bass Club, and let's show the community some support. There's a lot of Columbus businesses in Columbus that show us a lot of support. Stop in, help out all those businesses, and let's start growing the area out here in Southeast Kansas. Pit number 44, if you guys are still watching at this point, Kansas Wildlife and Parks just put a lot of brush piles in that pit. That is Big Brutus pit. So they just put those in there, so those fish will start moving in there this year. Be looking for all those. You can go find it. Not exactly sure where it's at on their website, but I'm sure it's on there. It's on the Columbus Bass Club Facebook page. You guys can jump on there and find that. Be sure to check out the Mineland Wildlife Area playlist. I got 5, 6, 7 videos up covering the pits. This is one of the secret little honey holes. If you guys are still watching, it's probably a good spot you want to go to come a kayak tournament. And I mean, you could hit all these fingers and go hit some more fingers. I'll have some more little secrets popping in here and there. You guys got to watch all the videos to find those. So, I mean, whoever's watching at 19 minutes might get this little secrets out there. So just keep tuning in, guys. I appreciate it. I'm getting a lot of feedback. I'm hearing a lot of outside sources coming in to me and telling me, hey, you know, I'm hearing things about your videos on the pits, and that is awesome. We appreciate it. I appreciate every one of you guys, okay? I'm trying to build this YouTube channel so I can start building my future in bass fishing, and that all relies around the YouTube channel. So that's why I'm getting this information out there to you guys, helping you guys out, and building this YouTube channel so I can take my fishing to the next level. I just have to have them endorsements, and they've all look at YouTube channels. So I got to get those endorsements first and sponsorships. Show everybody that I got a good following. People are watching me. People are following me in order to move forward to that next step. So I appreciate every one of you guys. Stay tuned. It's next year. You guys can follow me as I fish every tournament. I'm breaking those down, where I catch every fish, why I'm catching every fish, how I'm catching those fish. Not just some fluke channel coming out and saying, well, here's a map, you know, this is what you look for to go catch these fish. I'm going to show you where I catch these fish so you can fully understand why those bass are there. And I'm going to explain to you why I caught those bass there, why they were eating those lures, and exactly how to catch those bass so you guys could see it in your in person where those fish were sitting on a map and on Google Earth images. So it's not just me saying, oh, you go look for a rocky bank, you know, the whole bank, you know, how many rocky banks there are on a lake. It's hard to find fish, guys. So appreciate every one of you. I rambled on a little bit there, probably a little too long, but appreciate you guys, and I'll see you guys here hopefully tomorrow with another video. Thank you.